London's moped gang terrorized the richest streets, and it's almost unbelievable how they ran wild without facing consequences. While the police scrambled, the gang looted luxury items without a care. How did they get away with terrorizing so many for so long? Metropolitan Police data states that there were 16,158 thefts by people on mopeds between July 2016 and June 2017. This is a dramatic increase on the 12 months before that, in which only 5.145 incidents of the same nature were recorded. By 2017, London had already seen a dramatic rise in moped-enabled crimes, and the authorities seemed powerless to stop it. These thieves weren't just committing petty thefts, they were orchestrating swift, violent attacks across the city. The robberies came in waves, fast, frequent, and increasingly violent. No one was safe. People walking through parks, waiting at bus stops, or even picking up their children from school suddenly found themselves blindsided. One moment, they were going about their day. The next, they were victims of a hit-and-run crime, often before they even realized what was happening. According to the BBC, since then other offenses have included stealing an officer's bag from an unmarked police car, spraying a police car with the fire foam extinguishers as officers waited for a stolen moped to be collected, and the theft of £83,000 worth of MacBooks and other Apple products from another Kensington business. The gang's victims weren't just losing phones anymore. No, these criminals had upped the stakes, targeting high-value goods like luxury watches, designer bags, and expensive laptops. Items that would have been impossible to replace on a whim. And while the gang raced through the streets, the police struggled to keep up. With the mopeds weaving through traffic and mounting pavements, the criminals were gone before officers could even respond. The police faced a tough dilemma: chase the thieves and risk causing a deadly accident, or let them go. Their inability to effectively respond only fueled the fear. The gangs, sensing this weakness, continued their reign of terror, knowing they could escape with little consequence. These moped criminals weren't just running through London, they were taking control. They struck fear into the hearts of the city's wealthiest districts, and no one knew how to stop them. The police were outpaced, the public was terrified, and the criminals, with their perfectly timed, lightning-fast robberies, seemed to be unstoppable. The situation was dire, but little did anyone know. The end was coming, and it was going to be a lot more dramatic than anyone expected. BBC reported that 4 defendants also traveled to Redditch, Worcestershire, in January 2018, where they stole 3 motorbikes worth a total of £30,000 after spotting the owner address on eBay advert. By 2018, London's moped gangs had evolved into something far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. What started as petty thefts escalated into highly structured, high-stakes crimes carried out by a crew that wasn't just winging it, they were planning every move. Unlike the typical street-level criminals, this gang knew exactly what they were doing. Their targets weren't just random, they were carefully selected, high-end stores that sold luxury items, like designer jackets at Altimus. These weren't spur-of-the-moment grabs. Every raid had been meticulously coordinated, down to the timing and escape routes. But what really set this crew apart was their strategy. They didn't aim for a quick hit and run. They were after big rewards. Behind their calculated attacks was a covert police operation, quietly tracking the gang's movements. Launched in February 2018, Operation Fieldhouse was designed to observe, not confront. The police were focused on piecing together the gang's patterns, learning everything from their attack times to the specific locations they favored. They quickly realized this wasn't just a gang of opportunists. They were well coordinated and always seemed to be a step ahead. With every robbery, their pattern became clearer, and police began to gather the necessary evidence. Their first big breakthrough came with a high-risk raid on New Year's Eve, where the crew used a stolen Range Rover to ram into an upscale store, snatching designer jackets worth tens of thousands. The meticulous nature of the crime raised red flags for investigators. This wasn't random. This was a well-planned operation. CCTV footage began to show the crew wearing masks, using tools like bolt cutters to break into high-end stores, and zeroing in on the most expensive merchandise. Members of a moped gang who threatened to hurt a woman's 3-year-old son in a shocking attempted robbery have been jailed, reported by BBC. This incident took place on June 21, 2018, when the gang crossed a line that would change everything. A mother and her young son were walking down a quiet street in Richmond when they were confronted by the moped thieves. In a move that shocked the public, the gang didn't just demand the mother's valuables, they used the child as leverage to ensure she complied. The mother was forced to hand over her ring while the gang made their escape. The chilling footage from the incident went viral within hours, sparking widespread outrage. The image of a child being used as a tool in a robbery was enough to send shockwaves through the nation. Even high-profile figures like Amanda Holden voiced their anger, and the story soon became the subject of national debate. The public backlash was immediate, but it was also a turning point for the police. Until that moment, the gang's operations had been largely ignored, just another series of moped thefts. But the disturbing nature of the Richmond attack involving a child made it impossible for authorities to continue looking the other way. This was no longer just a crime spree, it was an escalation. The police knew they had to act fast, and the race was on to stop this increasingly violent gang before they struck again. According to the BBC, the gang, whose leader was Terry Marsh, 32, had previously been involved in 2 thefts of the same high-end outdoor clothing shop in Kensington, violently assaulting a security guard during the second raid. At the heart of London's moped terror was Terry Marsh, the mastermind who built an empire of crime with chilling precision. Marsh wasn't just another thug. He was the architect behind a highly organized network of thieves who struck fear into the city. His leadership turned a group of opportunistic criminals into a well-oiled machine. Every move was calculated, every detail planned. He used multiple phones and SIM cards to communicate with his crew, making it nearly impossible for the police to track his every move. Each operation was carried out with the kind of coordination you'd expect from military tactics. Drivers, lookouts, blockers, and handlers each knew their role, and they executed their plans without error. Marsh's crew wasn't just effective, they were almost invisible. They didn't leave behind any physical evidence, no fingerprints, no DNA. It was as if they had mastered the art of disappearing, leaving behind only carefully orchestrated crime scenes. For months, they terrorized London, targeting luxury stores and high-end goods, all while avoiding detection. This wasn't random crime. It was an empire built on precision and efficiency. But the police were closing in. BBC reported that 3 of the gang, Omar Tafat, 22, Josh Myers, 19, and Kian Taylor, 20, were caught following a high-speed police chase lasting more than 90 minutes. All 3 piled onto the same bike, which was driven the wrong way on A40 on 7th May 2018. So here is the breakdown of the incident. In May 2018, the gang made a mistake. During a high-speed chase through London, the gang didn't just flee. They filmed the entire escape, laughing as sirens screamed behind them. The audacity was astounding, but it also exposed cracks in their operation. In a rare move that showcased their arrogance and planning, they even stopped mid-chase to refuel, demonstrating their confidence in escaping police pursuit. They knew the backstreets, the shortcuts, the hidden routes. They used London's chaotic streets as their playground, riding against traffic and using every advantage they could find. But the end was near. The chase finally came to an end in South Ealing when the gang crashed, leading to the arrest of 3 members. This crash was more than just a botched escape. It gave police the crucial evidence needed to connect the crew to dozens of high-profile robberies. With this breakthrough, Operation Fieldhouse reached its peak. Police had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. In July 2018, that moment came. Early one morning, officers raided several locations across West London, targeting Marsh's crew. It was a calculated move that took the gang by surprise. Marsh was arrested at his Fulham flat, and others were rounded up in simultaneous raids. The evidence recovered was overwhelming: stolen mopeds, cash, tools used in robberies, and items directly linked to their string of high-value heists. It was clear that this wasn't just about a few stolen items. It was a complex network of organized crime. As the trial progressed, the sheer scale of Terry Marsh's criminal empire was laid bare before the court. Evidence revealed not only his role as the gang's ruthless leader, but also the calculated strategies that enabled their reign of terror across London. Marsh ultimately received the harshest penalty, 13 years and 2 months in prison, reflecting his position at the helm of the operation. Yet he was not the only one held accountable. Many members of his crew also faced justice, receiving significant sentences for their involvement in the campaign of fear. These punishments sent a powerful message. The era of moped gangs dominating the streets with impunity was over. Still, for the victims who had lived through the violence, the conclusion of the trial brought only partial closure. The physical danger may have ended, but the psychological scars remained. London had been deeply shaken, and the fear instilled by Marsh and his crew would endure long after they were locked away. The downfall of Terry Marsh and his crew marked a decisive victory for law enforcement, but the shadow of their crimes still lingers across London's streets. Their ruthless use of mopeds to commit thefts and assaults created widespread fear, leaving communities shaken even after their arrests. While the gang itself has been dismantled, moped-enabled crime remains a pressing issue. The vehicle's speed, agility, and anonymity continue to give criminals an edge, making police vigilance critical. Though Marsh's reign has ended, the chilling question persists. Could another group exploit the same tactics and plunge London into chaos once again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think these types of crimes can be prevented, or is the system in need of a serious change to address rising violence?